What it's like to be in a relationship where you're walking on eggshells. Do you know what a walking on eggshells relationship is? Although some of us are unfamiliar with the term, we can all identify with the circumstance. In such a relationship, the fear of making a single incorrect move triggering your partner's outbursts is palpable. Communication with a partner ought to be open and direct in an ideal relationship. If you're slow to reply or overly cautious in your actions around your spouse, you're probably walking on eggshells around them. Couples frequently seek counseling because they are experiencing similar experiences. One spouse will feel like they have to be careful all of the time, while the other will be completely unaware. Walking on eggshells is a poor way to keep a relationship alive. The good thing is that this trend affects many relationships and can be overwhelmed. The bad news is that it makes both partners feel isolated and confused. We'll discuss the dysfunctional relationship pattern that makes one person overly wary. What does it mean to walk on eggshells? Have you ever had to deal with a person whose moods and tantrums are erratic? You may feel as if you're walking on eggshells since you're on shaky ground. You've got a lot of relationship anxiety. In an instance, it can turn into a fight or become toxic. The term walking on eggshells is a metaphor for the difficulty of walking on eggshells without shattering them. This concept is often used to describe situations in which a person feels unable to express themselves fully, such as friendships or intimate relationships. When it comes to their relationship, someone who walks on eggshells will take extra precautions to avoid causing the other to be angry. Angry outbursts or criticizing a partner could be signs of dissatisfaction. A person who makes another person walk on eggshells is generally guilty of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse occurs when you have to tread carefully around your lover. Being a subject of emotional abuse has a lot of negative consequences. Self-doubt is one of the most typical adverse effects of emotional abuse. When insecurity is pervasive, it's tough to form a solid love relationship. Here are a few signs that you're in a relationship where you're walking on eggshells. In any relationship, whenever you feel like you're walking on eggshells, that's a red flag. It denotes a shaky or abusive relationship. It's natural to be upset now and then. However, if it becomes a pattern, you can conclude that something more serious is going wrong. Check to see whether you have any of the following symptoms consistently. If you do, you might be in a relationship that is emotionally unstable or toxic. 1. Mood swings. Before you speak or do anything, you quite often assess the other person's mood. You do this simply in case they strike out or respond angrily. 2. Tension. When you're with your partner, you're always tense and alert, emotions are always racing high, or they have trouble controlling their emotions. Likewise, you may find it tough to unwind and be yourself around them. 3. Constant self-monitoring. You find yourself continuously observing and adjusting your behavior and words to avoid enraging your partner. You second-guess yourself in every circumstance, and you're constantly worried about how they'll respond, and you can't seem to stop walking on eggshells once you're around them. 4. Snarky and degrading behavior. If your partner's remarks or behavior frequently humiliate or degrade you, they make comments that imply you are less a person or not up to their level. 5. Nonverbal signals. Your partner constantly communicates displeasure and anger to you using nonverbal cues such as glaring stares, cold shoulder, hand gestures, or tossing objects and handling objects angrily. It is not incorrect to express displeasure, however, it's far complicated if it's performed in a harsh, violent, or aggressive manner. 6. Prolonged disputes. Misunderstandings and squabbles are common in healthy relationships, but they can become a problem if they linger and aren't solved. If the parties concerned refuse to let go of concerns, disagreements can persist for days, weeks, or months. 7. Detachment. People retreat into themselves in the worst-case circumstances of long-term mental and physical abuse. They may withdraw from their friends and relatives. They do this because they don't want to upset the other person. However, they may come to believe any negative statements made about them. What are some of the reasons why people act as if they're walking on eggshells? If you're in a relationship and you're walking on eggshells, it's because you're terrified of how your spouse may react on certain occasions. They have mood swings and act erratically. It's impossible to know how they'll respond. They could take things in stride on some days or at certain times. However, there are situations when their reaction is blown well out of proportion to the event. It makes you wary of breaking unpleasant news to them or acknowledging when you've made a mistake. It may be typical for people who believe their relationship works this way to lie to cover up minor details to avoid outbursts from their partner if they are honest. There are several reasons why your partner may act in this manner. They may be coping with a mental health issue affecting their conduct. One other cause why people's responses can be unpredictable is a lack of self-esteem. When people feel horrible about themselves or insecure, they may behave in ways that aren't appropriate for the scenario. Asking them to tackle problems they aren't sure they can handle, for example, can drive them to become enraged. While there are some reasons for this conduct, the most important thing to remember is that it is not appropriate. You shouldn't be in a relationship where you're continuously walking on eggshells, waiting for your partner's reaction and conduct. If you're in this kind of relationship, you need to work on it or combine it. Steps to boost your relationship and stop walking on eggshells. 1. Begin with yourself. Even if your partner refuses to work on your relationship, you could still improve it by improving yourself. You can start the process of no longer walking on eggshells by yourself. The state of your health can have a significant impact on the quality of your romantic life. Relationships can improve when people realize that their way isn't always the only right way. Figure out what you're doing to irritate your partner and fix it to enhance your relationship. It can help you better understand individuals and why they behave the way they do. Do you want to live in a more peaceful environment? Make an effort to bring more serenity into your relationship. 2. Establish limits and stop walking on eggshells. If you're exhausted from walking on eggshells in your relationship, it might be time to establish some ground rules. It would help you figure out what you're willing to put up with and what you're not, as well as how to detach in a circumstance when you know what happened wasn't your fault. You don't have to bear the brunt of someone else's errors or inconsistencies all of the time. You could also employ other communication skills, such as reflective listening, which allows you to softly and compassionately explain to anyone that what they are saying offends you and that it is not acceptable that they make you feel that way. If you want to have a strong emotional connection, you must know your limits and set boundaries for yourself and the other person. If you're not used to doing this, it may be tough for you, and it may not go down well with your partner. Boundaries contribute to the creation of healthy relationships and the reduction of the tension associated with walking on eggshells. 3. Enhance your communication abilities. A lack of good communication skills can lead to issues in a relationship. If you don't communicate well with your partner, or if they aren't communicating effectively with you, you may both feel as if you're walking on eggshells. Learning good communication skills can benefit any relationship. When talking with others, be aware of your tone of voice, express how you feel to your spouse without nagging or undermining their self-esteem. It will allow you to quit walking on eggshells around your partner and instead concentrate on resolving the problem. If you observe something wrong with your partner, try to confront it head-on rather than tiptoeing around each other or walking on eggshells. Instead of concocting stories in your head about what you might have done wrong or what the problem might be, learn to ask direct questions like, "Are you upset with me? Does something appear to be wrong? Do you feel all right? Did I make a mistake somewhere?" Asking these questions is acceptable and encouraged, and it is one of the simplest ways to avoid treading on eggshells, particularly if you want a healthy relationship. 4. Focus on spotting triggers. Discovering any triggers that your partner appears to have difficulty with will help you be more aware of and anticipate their reaction. Conversations regarding finance, managing issues, or job stress may be enough to set off an emotional collapse. If your partner is open to change, recognizing the triggers can also assist you in moving forward. 5. Encourage your partner to get help. If you've been walking on eggshells, your partner's attitude has to change, and this requires time. If they accept this and are willing to change, it may be necessary to enlist the assistance of a professional to assist them in the process. You may help by supporting and encouraging them in their efforts to obtain professional help. When you observe them working to improve their conduct, make sure to compliment them and acknowledge their efforts. An attachment disorder or other mental health issues could be the root of your partner's problem. They could be depressed. Understanding the circumstances and why they behave in the way they do will enable you to stop walking on eggshells around them and instead encourage them to seek the assistance they require. 6. Make new ground rules for your marriage or relationship. When you both recognize and agree that a problem exists, you must work together to solve it. Consider giving clear instructions on what works and to honor each other's needs and opinions. This clarifies things. 7. Together, create new, positive memories. You could create happy memories with your partner as your relationship progresses from unhealthy to healthy. Take time to reconnect with your partner by going on dates. It should remind you why you chose to be with them at first and also assist you in getting beyond the rough times and avoiding walking on eggshells.